Can I go?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep you that part.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Hi.
Welcome to our channel, Worldwide Workshop. Today we are going to be doing another video about my book. Woo! And I brought some coworkers, some friends, some pals, some husbands, some not husbands. So today's chapter that I'm talking about, or we're talking about, is chapter 2 in the book, and it is titled The Ponytail. So in this chapter, have you guys read it? Do you remember? In this chapter, it follows me through the career, talking about the difficulties and the opportunities that arise as a queer ECE. I really wanted to write this chapter. I really wanted to make visible aspects of our job that we don't we never get training on this stuff. We never really get to prepare for it until we're in the moment and we are either scared or shocked or confident or reactive. And I just wanted to talk about it to two people who may have some experience with it, as you all are identify as whatever you identify as. I am definitely a gay ECE. Anyway, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kelly. I am queer, and I've been an ECE for about 14 years. And
She's
so old. And I'm really excited to be talking about this today.
Wonderful.
I'm Justin.
Whoa.
And I have been in the field for 26 years.
Whoa.
Various roles. And I am excited to talk about this because I never really thought about it.
Ooh.
Until you started bringing it up and writing that chapter, that I start to actually consider that could be something that we would discuss later on.
So first, I just want to know, what is your general experience like being queer as an ECE? Kelly, why don't you start?
You have to hold this sweet little microphone.
Well, I want to make sure you're heard.
Oh, thanks. I would have to say that my journey as a queer ECE has been mostly positive, has been actually quite supportive and joyful. I think I've been really lucky to be surrounded by so many people who are caring and who see children the way that they should be seen, respected, and heard. And I think that kind of lends to me being heard as well and seen. And I feel like it has taken some time, but I have kind of started to recognize that my queerness as an ECE kind of brings another aspect to the classroom that is valid, that is important.
Hello. So I think for me, I actually was just talking to Kelly about this before the interview. So we were doing a pre-interview, that I was looking at it as microaggressions at first.
Okay. That
I would just kind of like say, okay, that's a one-off, put it aside. That's a one-off, put it aside. And I never really noticed it. But then we're like, when they all accumulate and then you think about it, you're like, whoa, that's a lot of parts of myself that I was like just saying, no, let's not talk about it. And one of them was like what you would know with a parent just saying like, I can have one gay teacher, but I can't have two.
That's in the book.
Right. So then like that was really like, whoa, what does that even mean? Or, oh, you possibly have to have a girlfriend. And then when you're like, no, I actually have a partner who he is over there. It's like, they're still dismissing this thing. And then even with children, when they're just expressing just joy and love or whatever, and these two
or gender non-conforming.
Yes. So whether they're wearing dresses, for example, they're obviously, the parents are coming to me and saying, well, because you're queer, you're now making this child wear a dress. And I don't like that.
Girl, we're not making anybody wear a dress.
No, we're not. Prince, my queen.
Yeah. They want to wear dresses. They want to try on the toy high heel shoes.
Yes.
And why is that a thing?
Yeah.
Let it be.
I remember wondering if parents were thinking that they just happened to not put on a dress when they were little or not touch a purse, and that's why they ended up straight, because it seemed like there were so many parents who were worried about their child touching something that was considered feminine
Mhm.
or being involved with something that was considered feminine, that they would like turn out as queer.
Yes.
And I found it really interesting. I always wanted to ask, like, do you think that you're not queer just because you didn't wear high heels for a second when you were a child? Like,
Yeah, and I like to think about it if the roles were reversed. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, if it's so easy to turn gay by just trying on one dress when you're a kid, then maybe you should be gay. Because I tried on pants many times and I'm still not straight. You know what I mean? Like, what is it about the dress that's like, oh my god, they must turn gay? It's just so silly.
Well, also too in when I was working in pre-primary, they had International Day of what was it called?
International Day of Remembrance? for
No, it
trans
wasn't
people?
about trans people. It was more about like being part of the LGBT.
Oh.
So the school that I did, they celebrate this. I can't remember what month it was, but we celebrated, and this family was so against it in my pre-primary class that they specifically did not show up for like a couple of days. And then we had the pride flag in the classroom, and we were kind of being inclusive because we did have a couple of families that were identifying as queer in some form. And then they're like, well, if this is hanging up in the classroom, this shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
And they were like confronting, and I was like, well, you're taking away my identity now because we're celebrating this stuff. And they're thinking that's no place for it to be in school.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Are
Are you getting emotional?
I'm getting so emotional. No. So here's the part of the book that I think I wanted to just bring up and share. I felt truly supported by the center's community and experienced very little risk in being honest about who I was. The leadership at the center was committed to welcoming diverse families and ECEs. For the most part, the staff were as well. Working in a field with a vulnerable population can be polarizing, particularly when your identity is publicly visible. So it was refreshing to see that the center had well-developed policies and did not tolerate discrimination of any kind, including sexual discrimination. This provided a solid foundation from which I could safely be my authentic self while supporting and educating uninformed or naive parents, serving both as representation of diversity and as an advocate for children. So I wanted to bring this up because it's really important for us as ECEs to know that we can depend on our administration to protect us. And it shouldn't be something that we ask for and then it's given. It should be something that is already established when we walk in the door. I should be able to see myself represented in the daycare center because the daycare center is inclusive.
Yeah.
And that was something I was able to get at Peter Greenhall Children's Center.
I think we should shout out Barb for that because a lot of things that happened outside of our knowledge, and she shut it down so quickly. And then like we found out about it later, how much she like sort of deflected out of that things. And I don't think we've ever come across a director that would still do that.
I'm sure there are lots of directors who would.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a lot of
I meant in my career.
Admin who would, but Barb did, and Barb was our example. And it was just wonderful that we didn't even have to consider. We didn't have to defend ourselves, and we knew that we didn't have to defend ourselves because it was right there in the parent handbook. It was in the employee handbook. It was in all our policies. So we felt that we could advocate for ourselves and be our authentic selves. Yeah. What do you think about that, Kelly?
And then there's the opposite. I remember when I was with pre-primary, we had a family who was joining, and they were very nervous about who they were sending their child to because they are a queer family. And when one of the moms found out that the teachers, the educators in pre-primary were both queer, she was absolutely relieved. She sent us an email thanking us and just expressing how lucky she felt, how grateful she felt for being able to send her son to a space that she knew was going to advocate for families like her own. So,
I have a
yeah.
similar story. Um, when I was in pre-primary, I had a family who were coming in, and they were a polyamorous family of women with children who were shared children among the women. Um, so they were nervous to send a family photo because they didn't know how they would be received. And I was wearing a hat, and I just happened to be wearing a trans flag pin on my hat because I have family members who are trans. Shout out to my family. Um, and by her seeing that pin on my hat, it made her see that here's an open person, here's a safe person.
Safe space.
I can approach him with this issue that I'm having. I wasn't quite representation of polyamory, but I myself was gay and I had a trans pin on, so I might have been open. And she took that risk in talking to me, and thank goodness she did. And we were able to build a stronger, more stable relationship with that family. So sometimes it's not even about the kids; it's about parents being able to show up authentically for their kids in these spaces. And I mean, that's just wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have an example of the difference between advocating for children and advocating for yourself as a queer person?
That one is something that I still actually kind of struggle with a little bit. It might seem a little bit strange, but even around the children, when somebody new is asking me about my home life or if I have a partner, I still get nervous, like coming out nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter who it's with, if it's with the kids or family, or their families or coworkers or students, anyone. It's so strange because I feel so confident in advocating for children and their identity. And yet, when it comes to me advocating for my own, I still have reservations about being able to own who I am fully all the time. And that comes with so much privilege. I carry so much privilege with me, and I've been so supported. Um, and yet, I still have that. So, when I am addressing queer conversations, sometimes it's a little bit easier actually for someone else to step in and kind of guide the conversation instead of me doing it for myself. Whereas with children, I will absolutely advocate every time for them and feel confident in it no matter what.
Yeah, you're like an ECE warrior. When it's coming for you, you're like, oh, I don't know. But when it's for those kids, you will stand up, you will stand in front, you'll be loud, and be like, how dare you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples?
Do I have examples? I
I
might. I was trying to think of it.
You have one?
You
I
have
have
one?
an example.
Okay,
Okay,
go.
sure.
Mhm.
Use our names so we're not outing anybody.
Perfect. So one example with well, this is actually advocating for myself to a child.
Ah.
Ooh.
School age classroom, and we're at the playground one day. It's a beautiful day down at the waterfront, and one of our older children in our classroom, we can overhear him with his friends, and he calls one of them gay.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was really close with this child. And so I walked over to the sweet little submarine that he was playing in with his friends when he did this. And I bent down. And before I could even say anything, he looked into my face and immediately apologized. And I remember being so thankful that I didn't have to say the words to advocate for myself, that I could do it and I could have this conversation with him. But I remember recognizing that because of our relationship, like because I had worked on it and we had been so close, and he was able to see me and I was able to see him for him, that he was able to recognize the pain that he had caused me in that moment and not see me as just an educator, just an adult who where he did something wrong, but actually take ownership of the fact that he had uh,
Been a jerk.
Yeah.
done a microaggression,
Yeah.
more than a microaggression,
Yeah.
really, um, toward somebody that he cared about, for sure.
And to be clear, this was him calling somebody gay who was not gay.
Who was not gay? That's right. He was
Using
using
gay
gay
as
as
a
a
derogatory
derogatory term.
Yeah.
Yes. It was when we chatted about it later. I said, If you're just trying to call your friend stupid,
Say that.
say that." I mean, don't, but
Use the word you mean.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a really good story that I didn't include in the book actually, from Peter Greenhall, where we had children who came from various backgrounds from different countries around the world. And one of the children in our program was disputing whether or not it was okay for me and Justin to get married. This was before we were married. Because somebody asked if we were married, and I'm like, not yet, but we will get married someday. And then one child says, "Oh, men can't marry men." And then this lovely young lady stepped up and said, "Well, actually, in Canada, boys can marry boys and girls can marry girls. And I love Canada. So that's it." And it was just so wonderful
Goosebumps.
for a child to just say what needed to be said. And I didn't have to say anything because it wasn't like I'm telling the children, "Hey, you better stand up for me in public," or "Hey, whatever." They just knew that I was a person and somebody was saying that the way I was living my life was not correct. And she said, "Well, not here in Canada." And her context was not just Canadian. She was from a country other than Canada. So it wasn't even an ethnocentrism. It wasn't even her telling somebody from somewhere else, "Hey, you don't know how it is." She was also a person coming from somewhere else saying, "Well, here's where we are. Here's the context, and it's okay here. So get with the program."
You have a history of building allyship within the
Mm.
classroom
Yes.
since so it's like embedded in the walls. So you've been always calling out things that are if any child othered somebody or whatever. So when it was done to you, the children were like, well, hey, we can't let our teacher get this same treatment because that's not okay. So I think that your building of allyship sort of kept going throughout the thing.
Yeah.
I also think that the way that you advocate for children models for them how they can do it. And they don't have to necessarily do it just for themselves because you advocate for children in front of other children or in front of coworkers or other staff or families, because you model that children are able to step up and learn those skills to have for the people that they care about as well. So I think it's kind of a beautiful moment where you get to see how how your advocacy for them is now allowing them to go into the world and have it for others.
I mean, it goes to show you how much your time with children really impacts who they are. So if you're sending your children to childcare spaces, make sure you know and like the people who are teaching them because essentially they're going to take on parts of them and the way they treat people. So you want to make sure that that's in line with what you want. So any final thoughts on being a queer ECE?
Love yourself.
How in the hell are you gonna what is it? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Yeah, thanks, RuPaul. One last thing from you.
Um, I I don't know.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be.
No.
I think I just wanted to say that I appreciate the allyship that I have experienced and the support systems that I have experienced with this, and that I would suggest for anybody who is, you know, is considering bringing themselves more into the classroom and showing pieces of their identity that maybe is a little bit scary, that it's actually really it can be really amazing.
Mhm.
And also build your network of people that are strong that will help you
Support.
support. Yeah, because you can't do it alone. and you kind of need those people to help you find your right, what's the word I'm looking for?
Your
Your
family.
cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Your chosen family.
Your chosen family. Yeah.
Well, I was just talking to Carol Ann Ween. You may watch that video also on this channel. Her piece of advice actually for ECEs is make sure you're working somewhere that agrees with your values and your beliefs. Because if you find yourself working with somewhere that has different values, it will crush you and it will diminish your passion as an ECE, but can also diminish your identity. And we had an example of that in our adult education or our ECE for adults classroom where people came in and didn't realize that they could be their full selves. And because our room was welcoming of queer people and all people, they were able to kind of come out and not come out in the sense of like labeling themselves, but come out and act in the way they wanted to act, speak in the way that they wanted to speak, make jokes that they wanted to make, and just kind of live their full selves within their classroom. So,
Which is so much more authentic when you get to see those pieces.
yeah. And children know the difference.
Children know the difference.
So if you're going to be phony around kids, you're not doing them any favors.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us today. Thank you so much for watching our channel. And if you've got any questions, I would really appreciate it if you put it down in the comments, and we will address them at our next video. So comment. And if you liked the video, which you probably did because you're still watching, then you should give us a like. And if you didn't like the video, then why are you still watching? Maybe you're gonna spread your dislike.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Nope.
Spread the joy.
Nothing but love. All right. Thanks so much. Goodbye till next time. Oh, wait.
Bye.
And be fun and have fun as ECEs. All right. Bye.